Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the East Lindsey series. This is the biggest district in Lincolnshire, containing 188 civil parishes. Without further ado, here's today's offering. Welcome back to East Lindsey again, everybody. Now, so far, I don't think we've seen a typical East Lindsey village. You've seen, 9 episodes you've seen out in this district already? I don't think any of them could be classed as a proper East Lindsey village. Well, this one, I think, does fit the bill. You'll certainly get the idea when we've walked around this. It's kind of like a prelude to what the rest of the series is going to be like, generally speaking. Welcome to the lovely little parish of Bucknall. The East Lindsey series is sponsored by Gainsborough Cycles, 01427 617 752. For all your cycling needs, this is your one-stop shop, located at 20 Ropery Road, Gainsborough, or online at gainsboroughcycles.com. There's a link in the description. Gainsborough Cycles, ask for Trevor Halstead. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Bucknall, Goat Valley. Here's a lovely little village for you all. Several years ago, when I was living in Fiskerton, I briefly had a job in Boston. The easiest way to get to that town was via the B1190 and Woodhall Spa, which meant driving through Bucknall on the way. This is a linear village, one with only a handful of streets and houses, primarily located near its church. Originally called Bokenhale in the Domesday Book, its name means Goat Valley. Boken or bucca are Old English words for a goat, whilst Hale means a nook or a remote valley. Valley seems more likely given the proximity of the Witham. Bucknall might not seem like much of a place when you're just driving through, but dig that little bit deeper and you reveal all sorts of wonderful information. It was here, so it's claimed, that none other than Lady Godiva was born in 995 AD. This, though, has been disputed by several historians. And how many of you have ever ridden a donkey at the seaside, I wonder? Here in Bucknall, the donkeys of Skegness Beach used to be overwintered in the 1960s. I reckon this is a typical East Lindsey village. It has everything you'd expect from one, so let's walk through it for a bit and get a feel of what's to come in later East Lindsey episodes. We start by driving into Bucknall from the hamlet of Campney, which also falls within the parish boundaries of this one. Campney lies on a dead-end track which runs southwest into Bucknall Fen towards the River Witham. Although there are no officially recorded earthworks in Campney, this is, according to the Feet of the Finds, a deserted medieval village. The site of the village is believed to be just to the west of Campney Grange Farm, and that's the one to the right of your screens. The farm itself is 19th century, based around an E-shaped courtyard of the type so often seen in Lincolnshire. At most, only 50% of its traditional buildings still stand today. It's a poultry farm operated by European food giant Moy Park. Now, in my meter reading days, I was once asked to visit an abandoned building in Campney just north of the farm. However, it has massive signs on it saying danger keep out, and it's done up tighter than Fort Knox. I never entered the building, and still to this day I have no idea what it was. Does anybody else? After driving through Bucknall, we're now at the eastern end of civilization. Our walk begins at the old stores on the bend close to the primary school. This bend also used to feature a post office, but as is the case in many rural locations now, all Bucknall has is a post box these days. This end of the village also has the Nightingale House Care Centre, run by Halcyon. Nightingale House is a single-storey building that has a purpose-built unit offering specialised care for residents living with dementia and mental health needs. Also on the same bend we have a pair of educational establishments. This building here is the old schoolhouse, which stands right next to the modern Bucknall Primary School. This was built as a free school in 1854. In 1871 it was attended by about 80 children and was enlarged in 1900 to accommodate up to 84. The parish was also once entitled to send free scholars to Bardney School under the will of Thomas Kitching. After passing the school, you may hear the sound of running water. It's this stream flowing south into the River Witham. Next, along the B1190, Bucknall's main road, we have the Village Hall, an attractive modern building with full kitchen facilities, a large car park and a playground for the younger Bucknall resident. Although it's got its own Village Hall, people from neighbouring Horsington often use this too. It's all one big community. We can tick Bucknall off the East Lindsey list here, folks. Here's the parish notice board and that's 10 down, 178 to go. No sweat. Just after the hall is a bus stop. This is served by the number 30 and the 916 between Lincoln and Horncastle. Here's a glimpse into the fields beyond the bus stop. Following this, the road starts to become a bit more built up and you'll notice some fairly modern housing. Bucknall used to have 2 cattle farms not long ago which were cleared to make room for new developments. In the 1960s, a village farm looked after the donkeys from Skegness Beach during the winter months. I wonder where they go now. Bucknall has very few listed buildings, but one that is would be its bright white 18th century rectory, which stands opposite one of the former farms. Bucknall's Grade II listed Anglican church is dedicated to St Margaret. The west chancel of the church was restored in 1884 by James Fowler. I suspect he'll be a regular figure in East Lindsey. The northern part of its nave and its main door, set within a much later timber porch, are early English Gothic. The southern part of the nave is decorated Gothic. Inside, the font is late Norman, the pulpit was given to the church in 1646, and there exists a 1787 chalice, flagon and pattern by John Wakelin and William Taylor. The church also has a small memorial to the former Bucknall Airfield. This was operational in World War I, and officially it was a landing ground for the RFC's No. 33 Squadron. It's since returned to agricultural use. The airfield was never paved and was instead grass. It can be found to the north of the village. Now, speaking of things to the north, our next job is to head that way towards Waddingworth, the village at the geographical centre of Lincolnshire. First, here's a quick look to the west towards the sharp bend on the road to Campney. There are 3 streets off the B1190 at this end of Bucknall. This is Townhill Lane, a relatively new street built in 2009, containing some excellent looking new builds. The other 2 are Poplar Road and Foundry Road. Poplar Road's name is disputed. When you enter the street, you'll see 2 road signs, one saying Poplar Road, the other saying Chestnut Avenue. OS Maps and Google Maps, though, both refer to this as Poplar Road. Foundry Road is a bit more obvious. It relates to the village blacksmiths, part of Bucknall's industrial past. At the top of the road you'll find a small linkway called Chapel Walk that connects Poplar Road to Foundry Road. The reason it's called Chapel Walk is down to not just one but two buildings. This here is the former Wesleyan Methodist Chapel. The Primitive Methodists also had a building in Bucknall too. Founded in 1854, it was located on Poplar Road at the other end of Chapel Walk, hence the path ran between the two buildings. All the running we have to do now though is back to the start, via the final few properties on Foundry Road. Okay, so from here it's a simple walk back to where we began, just near the school. My original route was supposed to take a footpath that runs around the back of the village hall, but with all the rain we've had just lately, I didn't really want to do it because it could well be sludgy and horrible and could even be flooded in places. I don't know. So I opted not to do that. I opted to stay on terra firma, as it were. But to be fair, I don't really think that's missed much, I'll be honest with you. It just would have made the route a little bit longer, that's all. So we're going to walk back to the car from here, and then we're going to drive towards the next one, which is 2 miles away that way. Now, when I used to drive down this road regularly, there used to be a petrol station on that road. I wonder whether it's still there. Didn't see it on the map earlier, so I suppose we'll find out. To finish with, we're taking a drive towards the next village via the far eastern end of Bucknall. This is very much a linear affair, and with no easier way to cover it, this was the best idea. There's a handful of properties up this end, all clustered together on a second bend. This is Copper Street, a narrow, twisty lane that runs northeast towards, but never actually reaches, Waddingworth. There's an old forge up here, as well as the Foxglove Retreat, a self-contained holiday home billed as the perfect base for walking the Lincolnshire wolds. Now, as far as the petrol station goes, well, it still exists, but you won't find anyone pumping gas these days. This was once a typical rural Lincolnshire filling station, vital for passing traffic, owing to there being no major towns along the B1190. I guess these days, Bucknall's residents have to drive to Horncastle or Woodhall Spa. It was a bit sad to see this, to be honest, because for me, this is a memory. Times changed though. Let's change villages now and head to the next one. I'll see you there in 7 days. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.